Hi. One film that I saw recently, somewhat unexpectedly, was Three Men in a Boat. There have been a number of versions of the book. Most prominently, there was one made in the 70s for BBC Television with Tim Curry and Michael Palin as two of the three. But this is the version from 1956. The plot of the book is deliberately quite slender. It's set in the late Victorian period, contemporary to when the book was originally written, and depicts three friends, men in their 20s, going on a boating holiday up the Thames for a week, or 2 weeks rather. It's a while since I've read the book. And they get into all sorts of bizarre scrapes and antics along the way, not helped by the disobedient dog Montmorency. And it's in many ways the first road movie, except it predates both roads and movies. It predates the car. The film version changes quite a bit. It updates the story to the Edwardian era, or the late Edwardian era, because its cars are quite prominent. And it changes around the story quite a bit because we now have the introduction of romantic subplots. Of the three men, we have Jay, who's an analogue for Jerome K Jerome himself, who is now married. We have Harris, who is supposedly engaged, and his bride-to-be's mother is pressuring him to get married. And we have George, who is an eternal romantic. And the three wind up being entangled with three attractive young women on the course of their trip. And there are all kinds of hijinks and climbing ladders to peek into rooms, and mistaken identity, and all this kind of antics, none of which is in the book. The film is credited as being loosely based on the original book, and it is not excuse me, words sticking in my throat. It's not a great adaptation of the book. The book is brilliant. I can't recommend it highly enough. I was expecting it to be something tough and stodgy. Instead, it isn't a fantastically funny read that hasn't dated at all. It's hilarious. This is a completely different story, but it's still really entertaining. The casting is odd. You have David Tomlinson as Jay, motorboat going by. Jimmy, his name will come to me in a moment, as Harris, with the Jimmy Edwards, with the enormous whiskers, and the very good-looking Laurence Harvey as George, and they all seem too old, but they have great comic chemistry between them, and they really sell the absolute misery that the trip turns into when they can't get the tent to work. They have to sleep in the boat, practically lying on top of each other. All these various misfortunes that befall them. The film ends very differently from the book. The book ends with them simply abandoning the boat and going back to London, whereas the book has a much more conventional movie ending with a final set piece of a cricket match in Oxford. And although it isn't in any way true to the style, form, or spirit of the book, it is a very enjoyable, very light-hearted, fun, happy film. I thought it was tremendous entertainment, kind of an alternate version of the story, and I'd recommend it very highly. It's great fun.